Welcome to the Prep Reporters, brought to you by FFNnetwork.com. We're coming to you from the City Lunch here in Lincoln. And joining us today, we actually have Mr. Brian from the City Lunch himself. Also, Michael Christopher from the Lincoln Times-News sports editor up there. So, Brian, you were at the Lincoln and Bessemer City game last week,
yes,
and which actually ended up being a very good game, pretty much a defensive battle between the two teams. Tell us a little bit what you saw and what you liked about the game.
Just the defense was outstanding on both sides of the ball. Bessemer ran the clock the best they could. Lincoln used the best they could, tried to wind the clock down a lot, but at the end of the game, there was a big interception. He ran it back 60 yards, yeah. And then at the end of the game, Jalen Littlejohn intercepted the ball in the end zone to seal the win for Lincoln. So it was a last-minute game.
Nice. That had big things, also going on, moving on. Lincoln this week will be at Maiden.
Maiden will be here.
Maiden's coming here. Sorry about that. Maiden's coming to Lincoln. I know you'll like that. They always bring big crowds, and they always come for those city lunch hot dogs. So
as long as they come hungry,
I'm sure they will. And Michael, you were at the East Lincoln game.
Right.
Tell us a little bit what happened up at the East Lincoln game last week.
Well, Mustangs earned their second conference title. Haven't lost a conference game in 2 years. Coach Bias, a special night for him. He won his 51st game as the head coach of East Lincoln. Big win, 56-7 over their rival. That's always, good to beat your rival. Austin Culp had a big game on the ground, 133 rushing yards, was 42 shy for 1,000 even on the regular season. Great defense as well. I'm sure not as good as the Lincoln game, but East Lincoln had some interceptions, had some sacks. North Lincoln was again hurt by injuries. That just kind of sum up their season. Their quarterback had a concussion in the second quarter. And the tailback, actually their main tailback from North Lincoln, Brian Hubacher, had to take over the snap, so they, were limited on moving the ball. Disappointing season for Coach Stillwell, but I know he's got that youth, some experience, so he'll be back next year. East Lincoln this week will play host to the Ashe County Huskies, so that'll be a good game this week.
Tell us a little bit what you think. You see East Lincoln having really many problems against Ashe County, or you think it's pretty much going to be just East Lincoln rolling all the way, moving on to play either West Oaks or Berry Academy, it looks like, in the second round of the playoffs?
I think they're going to have some trouble with their size. East Lincoln is kind of a small but quick athletic team. I think that size-wise gives them a problem. They have to go to that run game. They have to use the special teams to their advantage. And this could be a slower pace scoring game for East Lincoln. They're used to quick scores, get the ball, a couple play drives, and big scores. I think this game they'll have to kind of grind it out more than they usually do.
All right. Also last week we had Cherryville versus
Cherryville and West Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yep. West Lincoln was one win away from possibly sealing that playoff. First time in a while. Unfortunately, Cherryville scored 24 unanswered points. They were up, I believe, 13-6 at one point. Their quarterback was injured. Caleb Beal came back, played some receiver for them, but just couldn't throw the ball due to the injury on his thumb. And congratulations to Cherryville for making the playoffs. They got a tough test on the road at Monroe, who had a perfect season. And a huge challenge for them coming up. So West Lincoln had a great season. We hope that they'll be back stronger. Got some good guys, some experience. But congratulations to both teams on their season.
Yeah. So Cherryville, like I said, we got Monroe. Anything that you can see Cherryville, pulling the major upset, or is it pretty much, Cherryville's going there and
it's tough, but their offense runs through Thomas Best. Thomas Best can play the game of his life, and they give him some time to run and some space. You never know what can happen. I think Cherryville can score very quickly with Thomas Best, and I don't see them being shut out at all. I think this game will be a very quick score game for both teams.
Yeah, last week I had the pleasure of actually being one of only about 5,000 people that was able to sneak into watched Independence Butler, and I mean that was really a remarkable game between two state powers. I mean, it was a battle for the conference championship at the time. Butler came out on top with the win. Defense stepped up, had 4 interceptions on Independence quarterback Anthony Carruthers, who's big time D1 prospect. And it was really very good game too. Really good teams. I mean, I look forward to the next one coming up. In the state playoffs. It's going to be sad that they're stuck on the same side. It won't be for, almost will be for the title. Most years, a lot of people see that as the state title game in 4A, but. I tell you, they got to watch out though. Mallard Creek there is playing really well right now too. They only lost 1 game in the conference, throughout their season. They actually took Independence first week of the season to the wire, had a chance to win the game, went for 2-point conversions, lost it, didn't get it, lost the game by 1. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they might end up playing the second round. Yeah, they will. They'll end up playing the second round of the state playoffs. Both teams, win an event between Independence and Mallard Creek. And then, like
so you see Independence having the easier road there, you think, against Butler with that first round matchup?
I mean, Independence definitely, win the first round. Butler will have no problem. Butler's #1 seed, in the West right now, 4AA. Butler shouldn't really face too much of a problem moving, to the finals of the Western, bracket. I mean, Independence will have the tougher, run to meet Butler again. I mean, like I said, they're going to have to end up playing Mallard Creek probably again, so that'll be a big game. And then winner that, be moving on pretty much to play and meet Butler for, see who goes for the state title. But I mean, both teams are excellent, well coached. Good game. Just hate more people couldn't in the game. And also, guys, you had some big games in Gaston County last week. You had Forest View over Kings Mountain, which, Kings Mountain needed that win to make the state playoffs, and just couldn't get it done against, Forest View. Forest View won that game and secured a #2 seed in the state playoffs this year for them. So Forest View was #2 seed in their state playoffs this year. Also, you had Ashbrook playing Hunter Huss, and Ashbrook needed, one more win after that tough schedule they had. Needed the 1 win to actually make state playoffs, and actually pulled it off against Hunter Huss. Was kind of, looked at it as a little bit of underdog and came in there and rallied. Kind of at the end of the season had 2 big wins. Started with a Forest View win and then came back and beat Hunter Huss. They end up making state playoffs. So now, it's a new season, anything can happen. Maybe the tough schedule at the year can still pay for them, and kind of like, Burns up in, Cleveland County, they, had such a tough run at the end of the year. Got kind of beat up a little bit, didn't look that well, and got into conference. And next thing you know, turned it around and won 5 straight. They lost to Shelby last week for the title, for a conference title, but hey, there's worse things you can do than losing to Shelby. So, and then South Point, the top Crest have been a little bit in the tailspin towards the end of the season. They've lost, I think, about 3 or 4, 3 of their last 4, maybe 4, somewhere in there. But like I said, everything's 0. Best record right now is 0-0 pretty much.
New season.
New season, really the season that counts. As long as you make the playoffs, anything's right. And that's like I mean, Cherville all the way down, Cherville, all those guys, can have the best year, but
there will be upsets, folks. I tell you that.
So there you go. That's kind of what happened in Gaston County. Like I said, Forest View over Kings Mountain, and Ashbrook over Huss, and South Point over Crest. And guys, we'd just like to remind you, you can come here to City Lunch any day of the week and get a combo for $3 that consists of a hot dog, hamburger, chips, and a drink. Best deal you're going to find in Lincoln County, if you ask me.